The reason I created this channel, ADHD at 70, and I called it that name and with a big exclamation point, is because I wanted to really put it out there, because there's so much shame and all that that goes on with a diagnosis of this. So I wanted to kind of try to take that away. And I'm going to just talk about it. Part of the reason of doing this is I know how people suffer when they sometimes discover that they have it. And for me, finding out at 70, you can imagine that was like, wow, how could that happen? That was shocking. But I'm also a coach, you see. So I've been working with things I didn't even know it. I'm an intuitive coach as well. So I was finding things and putting them together in a way that sort of masked my ADHD symptoms for quite a while. But didn't really, because now that I can look at it, I can see what was there. So what I want to do is keep talking about certain things here on this channel that can help others who might find me come to understand this. When I began this, I told you I had a person I was going to do this with. He's 27 years old, and he had just discovered that he had this, and he was really wanting some help. He doesn't live in this country, and so it was challenging for him to even get information or treatment if he chose to do medication. Everybody does something a little different. I get that, but he didn't have any help. And I tried to send him some information, put him in the right place, all of that, but then he was depressed. This is what happens. You get depressed. I suffered from depression a lot, and I didn't know what was going on then. But when you move through your life and you feel that you're different somehow, and you're not able to do certain things, and you don't understand it, you start to feel badly about yourself. And that can lead to depression, and depression that you don't really understand. I've worked with several people since who have been treated for depression, and it didn't work, you see, because they were being treated for something different. I didn't understand any of that. I went through a thing earlier in my life where this probably is all intertwined. I'm not sure. I'm not a doctor, so I'm not giving you any kind of advice like that. I am a coach, however. But anyway, so when I was about 25 years ago, I went through a really horrible time. And lots of surgeries and this, that, and the other. I became really addicted to drugs, to opioids and all that. So that addictive personality was there. But I didn't know this because the doctor had to tell me I was depressed. I go, oh, really? I was clinically depressed to where they had to put me on medication. And so that was a help, though. You see, because I didn't know I had ADHD, because that might have maybe led me down, giving me a different diagnosis if someone had helped me with that. But, then the science, the brain science, neuroscience, all of that was not as developed when I was around. So I can't blame anyone for not knowing this. And so that's what went on for me. And over the years, when I came out of that, I understood. I started studying a lot of neuroscience, and that's how I developed a lot of my coaching techniques as well, because I came off of my medications for the depression myself, because I said, oh, it's my brain chemicals, and they have to be changed, and they have to be just, And once I use the medication to do that, then I start to form new neural pathways. Oh, wow, that worked. I didn't know what I was doing, but it was so cool. And then I started developing these processes that I have I have online training programs too. So I started developing some of these processes that were helping people. And probably a lot of people had ADHD, and I didn't even know I was doing that. So, and I heard about all of this for a while, but I didn't investigate it because I thought it couldn't be me. And no one else would have thought it was me too. Because see, that's another problem that we have with this, is that I'm too smart. That's the most annoying thing that one can hear. When you say to someone, I think I might have ADHD. No, you couldn't possibly. You've done things in your life. You're too smart. You're all of that. That's never true. Because see, when we know that we have it, we know we haven't done certain things. We know that we look at ourselves and we know other people are looking at us differently. We know that we've had miserable relationships a lot of times and couldn't figure that out. There's so many different things that came out of it. And so recently, as I started studying all of this, I also recognized the other reason that probably I became a coach was that one of the other conditions that came out that can arise from when you have ADHD is RSD. That's why I have it in the channel talking about it. Rejection sensitive dysphoria. You see, that's when you have this fear, this abnormal fear of being rejected. And so if you think, and if you have ADHD and you don't know that, then you're doing things and you're messing up, so now I'm just not going to do anything. I'm just going to hold back and not do it. I don't. The pain of being rejected is just too horrible. And then you will find that a lot of people with ADHD are also very sensitive. So now put all those things together, and you can see the difficulty, the problem, the dilemma that we might move through. And so I just decided I'm going to talk about this. And I think that what I'm going to do probably is bring on some, I might interview some other people, bring on some other guests. Maybe we can have some other talks. And if any of you are interested in that, I'd love to have a conversation with you, talk about certain things. And if you want we can do some live coaching in YouTube. I want to really bring things to a greater awareness, even though there's plenty of stuff out there about this. However, as you might have known, I said, but I couldn't find anyone who said they were 70 years old when they discovered it, when they were diagnosed. Couldn't find anything. And so because of that, I got to talk. I want people to understand that no matter where you are, no matter what you found, this is what I do in my coaching work too, you are in the right place. I'm an intuitive life purpose coach. Didn't know I was developing that, and probably maybe that my ADHD, because it does cause you, at times you can, become a little more intuitive. You can have that creative side. Many people have it. But then if things are misfiring all the time, how do you put that together? How do you make it operate? And so fortunately, because I have been a coach for more than 30 some years, I put all these things into place. And then the surprise later was like, oh yeah, and you also have ADHD. That was just lovely. Anyway, but I'd love for you guys to talk, share, ask questions, leave whatever you like, and subscribe to the channel. Please share it with others. I want to talk about a lot of different elements of this because it impacts our lives in different ways that I didn't even know. I mean, one of the first ones, I'll just put this in because some of you may go through this because you will start to understand if you discover this at a later time in your life, you might go back and revisit some of your past relationships and how those people didn't understand you. And you may have had some really bad times. And my main one was surprisingly, my mother. Because she's no longer with us, but I can see now that she had ADHD. I didn't know that, and I would judge her. That's what a lot of people have done with others. You may have done that in your relationships, or others in your relationship or your partner may have done that. And so understanding is really the key to us moving forward and having really happy, successful, and prosperous lives. So, all right. Thanks, you guys. See you soon.